Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Syncfusion webinar, Syncfusion Global Licensing, everything you need to know and more. My name is Carter Harris. I'm the video marketing specialist here at Syncfusion, and I'm going to serve as your moderator today. For our presenter, we do have Pat Staley, VP of Client Services here at Syncfusion. As for topic, as you can guess, we're going to be covering the Syncfusion Global License and kind of looking into how it not only provides company-wide access, but also a world of possibilities and features that can take your development to the next level. Today, we're going to cover all the features offered in the global license and other unlimited license, as well as answer any of your questions that you may have pop up or have already had thought about. If you do have any questions, you can enter them into the chat, similar to how we just said hello, on the right side of your screen at any time. We'll answer the questions at the end of the session and also post the entire Q&A on our blog. For those wondering, we are recording this webinar and we'll share the link in the next few days. All registrants will receive an email with this link, and you'll be able to find this and previous webinars on our Syncfusion YouTube channel. But I think that's good for introductions, and it looks like we've got a good amount of people in here now. So you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and introduce, as I mentioned before, the one and only Pat Staley. Pat, if you would like to join us here on stage.
Well, Carter, thank you for that wonderful introduction. It's a pleasure to be here. And everybody, I think I saw some folks from Mexico and, of course, the United States and all around. We welcome you to the conversation that Carter and I are going to have today about global licensing at Syncfusion.
Yes. And as I mentioned before, it's a conversation with Pat and I, but also a conversation with you all. So if there's any point that you have a question that you'd like us to, just talk about, or anything you would like us to further verify or cover, please hit us up in the chat and we'll make sure to watch that while we're going through this presentation today. But I guess to go ahead and get us started, Pat, would you mind giving a quick summary of the global license?
Absolutely. Syncfusion has, we've been in business for over 20 years. And when we started off, we had a license model that was just a one-on-one, individual developer and everything else. Syncfusion has since moved to nothing but subscription licenses. And for that reason, it's a very huge benefit for you. Whenever we try to figure out how to license or what to do for groups of people or individuals, we always want to factor in costs and costs associated with everything. And what do you get? What's the best bang for your dollar, if you will? And so by doing a subscription license, we guarantee that you're going to have the highest level of support that we can offer. It means that you don't have to worry about renewing. It will automatically renew. You can lock in prices, all sorts of really great things for all of the Syncfusion licensing. And we have something that, a structure that will work for any way, any size that your company is. So from a team license, project, division, global, we've got you covered in coming and going.
Yeah. Like you said, we like to offer even our individual license that we're talking about this, whether it be the team, or we have unlimited, which has different subjects from that, like the project, global, division, and then obviously our community license. However, I do know today we are going to be primarily focusing on the global license, but anything, Pat's the expert. I know she can help you with other topics if you would like us to. But I guess, Pat, I know one thing I wanted to focus on with the global license is if you go to our Syncfusion license page, it does say it's under the category of unlimited license. So I think one thing I'd like to kind of look into is unlimited is a big word. And I know under there's a lot of things that we mentioned, like unlimited users, unlimited access. To you, what do you think unlimited stands for Syncfusion, and how do we hold up to that?
So it's really interesting, Carter, that you bring up the word unlimited. Unlimited has lots of different meanings, and even inside of Syncfusion, it has lots of different meanings for how it's used. In the case of our global license, truly, it is unlimited. So when we are talking about particularly users, we It's open. The global license gives you the ability to have as many users as you want in as many different projects as you want, as long as that's terms of your agreement and everything. Because I know that there are some companies that have restrictions regarding that sort of thing. But from our perspective, let's say, for example, that you buy Syncfusion and you're looking for an individual framework, and it is for a desktop application, and that goes well. You have it worked out, you roadmap, and you get it done. Well, you realize that you want to make that a mobile app as well. There's not going to be any additional cost for you to bring in your mobile team and go ahead and take care of that. But let's take it one step further and chat about the fact that you have an HR department and you want to be able to track employees and their time off or whatever it is that you want to do with a custom program. You can use it for that. You can use it in your inventory. We really don't care. It's intended to be enterprise wide, and you are absolutely good to use it everywhere.
And
So we mean unlimited.
yeah, and to that point, like you're saying, use anywhere. And I know one of the things we mainly focus on is unlimited number of users. And when we're talking about anywhere, we are talking about global, hence the name global license. Do you think you can maybe cover a little bit specifically on like the user aspect of this?
So
And
the
like
user,
how many users, like essentially like the specifically on unlimited users, what does that mean for
it
Syncfusion?
means the developer, it means the tester, it means the architect, it means anybody that's associated with working with that code. They have access. That we aren't going to restrict any particular group or anybody doing that, and that is for the global license. And so again, and that's I keep on using the word beauty, because in our day and time, you know how terms and conditions are in contracts and everything else, and you can find that stipulation that limits what, who, and can. And for our global license, it truly means anybody and everybody.
Hey, like you said, literally the definition of unlimited. Like you have your free room, you get to do what you would like to do and
Yeah,
invite who you'd like to have.
absolutely. And so again, Syncfusion has different licensing. So I mentioned earlier team, project, division, and global. And so we do limit the word unlimited in those particular licenses. So for example, if you have a division license, it means that it's for a certain division of the company, and you can have as many projects as you have, but it's limited to that division. And a lot of companies, that really works for them. That's they can't put their entire enterprise under one particular license. And it may be some that just require the scope of that project. So again, Syncfusion is tiered their licensing to accommodate. And if you want your entire enterprise to be covered, the global license is what you're gonna be the best bet for you, and the highest return on your investment dollar.
Nice. And yeah, like you said, that like I guess the goal of it is always to make sure it's the best shoe that fits in this regard. Like you're saying, like
Absolutely.
they're all unlimited in their own in their own setup, but we're making
Scope.
sure that like it yeah, exactly. If someone wants, like you said, to just have unlimited access within, like you're saying, like this certain license, that's what they got. But if they want the full global to cover everything, they can also go that direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We use another term, unlimited, whenever we are discussing all of our frameworks, our controls, assemblies, grids, everything that Syncfusion has. And it's important for us to note that this is for our Essential Studio package.
Mhm.
So we have over 1,800 of these controls, these frameworks that are you have absolutely 100% access to. And again, I can't tell you the number of times that I've talked to our clients, and they are working on a project and they buy Syncfusion for that one thing that they want, right? And then they're going out and they're shopping to find a a mobile tool, or something for their whatever it is that they're looking for their mobile application. Well, they have already paid for it. They already have it, and it's included in that global. And so understanding everything that you have. And so so if you don't mind, Carter, I would love to share my screen and just show everybody what that means and how that means. Are
Yeah,
you good with that?
that's great. Yeah, go ahead and take it away.
So whenever you come out to whenever you come out to your Syncfusion account, and just as I mean, this is syncfusion.com, very simple to get out here. You come out to products and you see everything that we have, but these are all links. And so whenever you click for web under Blazor and you scroll down, then literally you're going to be able to see everything. And so it's not just what's on the surface, but you drill down and you get anything that you possibly ever need or want from working in a mobile application. And of course, the same goes across the top for um, if you need desktop, if you need um, web application, I mean, whatever it is. Whoops, went too far. I got click happy there. What can I say? Uh, Anything that you need on that front, not to mention, of course, we have ebooks and everything else, but they're all there for you to build your secret sauce on top of. So with having all of these at your disposal, these frameworks at your disposal, it means that you don't have to build them, and you're not having to invest in resources to do that. It's already done. They're tested. Everything looks good, and they're there. All of them are there inside of your license.
Yeah. And I mean, I think one of the big things is like you mentioned is specifically the being able to like put your own aspect and your own creativity and your own brand or whatever into these controls. And obviously, I know like from my own experiences of like, when I start to go off and do my own things, like a lot of times like we always need a little bit of help sometimes. And I know one of the things that I think's great is that we do have a superb support team. And I don't know if there's anybody who's better to talk about it than you. So if you wouldn't mind, maybe talk a little bit about what we offer support wise with this license coverage.
I tell my team all the time is our most valuable commodity. We don't ever get it back, and we never have enough. I mean, and that's just not just the truth. I'm from the southern part of the United States. That's the gospel truth. And so if I don't have to reinvent the wheel, I'm not going to. I'm going to, take the pieces and parts and whatever and build whatever it is that I need to do, whatever it is, that I'm doing. And so obviously the frameworks take care of that. The really cool thing about the support is that it is 24/5. I remember, I've been at Syncfusion long enough to remember whenever we promised a response, not the answer to whatever the support issue was, within 24 hours. And we have cut that by leaps and bounds. We are running 3 shifts all over the world to take care of every single question that you have. That doesn't mean that you're going to get the fix, but it means that you're going to get immediately recognized that, hey, we hear you. We're going to see what we can do to get this taken care of.
Yeah. And I know with that 24/5, like like you said, even if we're not able to just provide a solution like immediately, because obviously like we would have to check out stuff. I know there's plenty of ways that we are able to help whether it be an incident task, whether it be like specifically meeting and calling with individuals. It's like I
That
guess
is
would if you yeah.
Yeah, that is exactly true. So we have an online chat there is somebody there monitoring, taking care of that online chat. We have the ability, and we'll talk a little bit later about portals and how to register your incident. But we always, always, always want our clients to go out to their accounts. And so if we click here, so I'm going to click on Pat Staley, and I'm going to come out to my dashboard, and I'm going to go to my portal. I literally can see how to manage my licenses and everything here. But if I go back, I can also see how to log an incident on this page and take care of whatever it is that I need to do. So we have teams. We have a, I have a team, a team that handles escalated incidences. We have a team that is dedicated to basically triaging all of the support incidences that come on so that we can get them to the right team. It's very important to understand Syncfusion's model of how we work. So our development, all of those platforms that you saw and all of those frameworks have dedicated teams that's what they work on and everything. And so for us, it's not just going and you saying, I have a problem, and then we have to figure out what it is. Our ticketing system actually allows us to say, okay, what is the platform you're working on? What's the version you're working on? All of these things, so that it goes immediately to the right team so that we can figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and I know, like, I obviously not been on the calls, but I've talked to many of the people, and I know a lot of your team has as well. But like, even being able to jump on a call with somebody and even go through the application right then and there and be able to look at it, because if we're not able to recreate the issue on our end, sometimes it can differ. So I think that's always like a great aspect of like we can really go in, and even more important, like, a lot of these people on our support team and the calls and the people that you're reaching out to for help are the people who have created these controls. Literal, like the actual experts, the people who no one could know them better than they would.
That is the truer words right there.
Yeah.
I will tell you right now that there is nothing like talking to another person, and it's not that I am really seriously the least technical person in the entire company. So just throwing that out there so that we're all clear on my technical knowledge. But it's having that human element to connect with and say, I'm really frustrated and I can't figure out what's going on. And it's simple crazy stuff, because we do have the experts. We've written the code. We live, breathe, drink it all of the time. And so in and so what we deliver works in our environment. And then what happens is, you get it and you put your secret sauce on top of it to make whatever it is you're working on yours. And crazy stuff happens whenever that happens. 90% of the time, everything goes off very smoothly, but then you get the times where it doesn't. And I mean, as simple as the insanity of this, we had a situation where a support, it broke his system. He tried everything. We sent patch after patch. It was working great on our side, was not working great on his side. So we had a meeting, and I asked him, would it be possible just to VPN so that we could see what's going on in your environment? There's got to be something that's, we can't replicate, we can't see. And we're going through, and of course, everybody's taking a look. And one of our developers goes, wait a second, what's that comma? And he was working on an accounting application. And so we, identified the row and where everything was. And he goes, oh my gosh, I didn't see that. And so it just took a fresh pair of eyes. Literally, he, took it out. Poof, everything was wonderful. Now that's a really simple fix. And bugs and breaks are never that easy in reality, but except for that one time. But that's a classic example of, we want, whenever you submit a ticket, we ask you to send screenshots. We ask you to send, files, anything that you can. And our ticketing system actually is beautiful and allows for you to have all of that stuff. It's completely encrypted so that you have the security and privacy that nothing is going to be, hacked in our world. At least we strive for that anyway. And so it gives our team the ability to try to focus and get in, but having that phone call or whatever it takes so that, that you're being heard and it's being taken care of.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
like literally support summed up. I was like, I think that's the best part of it all.
It's so I can remember being in a meeting, an all hands meeting, and we talked about the fact that our frameworks, had reached a level of success that we weren't going to rest on that by any stretch of the imagination, but that the focus really needed to be on support. And I will tell you that the company has really pushed hard to um, make that support time happen much quicker, and then the actual issues be resolved more. We've added resources. Of course, doing it the 24/5 means that it's, constant attention. We do take a break on Saturday and Sunday, but if you need weekend support because you're going to deploy something major, I got to tell you, we have teams that will be there to be there and backup for that. But it's just really important to understand that that comes with that global license. It comes with all of our licensing, but you get that with that global license.
And also, I know one thing I would love to talk about is like we talked on the component stuff, but before we move on, I have to make sure, is there any other support stuff that you would like to mention or cover?
Um,
I know we've been talking on it a while, but it's like I know there's so much to be said, so I just want to make sure we don't miss anything.
yeah, it's just that um, really important to understand from what you get with having one of our licenses. We don't have, and I mentioned it just a second ago. There's not any place where we can just rest on our laurels and go, okay, we're at the top of our game. Everybody can just cruise and it's good. Our developers are always looking at latest technologies and where do we need to go and what do we need to do. And I'm not joking. I'm sort of an old gal, and I come, go to these meetings and I hear Flutter is being, released, and Blazor's being released, and all these really cool names and all of these cool things. So you can guarantee that our development and our support are going to have the latest and greatest. And so what that means for you is at least 4 releases per year. We usually drop them about once a quarter. And then it's not just that we push that out and it's gone and it's done, but we're always releasing patches, and we're always releasing bug fixes, and sometimes there's some feature requests that come along. And so you may have like first or second or third quarter, and then 52 be the patch release that comes out. So it's really, really fluid. There's nothing static about this at all. They rock and roll. So
Oh, very much so. I was like, and to that point, I was like, I mean, you mentioned the releases and everything, and also like the quarterly releases. Like, I mean, we have at least 4 volume releases every single year, focusing on Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. And I know that's one reason I always like to specify when people talk about the controls is specifically like we have 1800 plus, and like I think that plus is a big focus
yeah.
because like it very much, it's like while we do currently have more than 1800, I always look at it as a combination of that, but also to show like, oh, there's more coming. Because I can promise you, whenever I started here a couple years ago, like it was, I want to say 1600,
Yep.
and within like a year or two we have jumped up another 200 controls, and a lot of
Yeah.
that comes from keeping up with the latest releases. I know just a couple years ago we had Blazor came in, and as soon as that was a thing, we had controls for it. Like even I remember having people come up to us at a conference mentioning like, "Oh, I did not expect anyone to have this ready to go, and not just like, ready at the start, but like usable and good controls." And I think that's one thing I would love to focus on with like our control aspect is that like, yeah, you get all of this now, but you also get all of them as they come.
That it's so true. I remember when Xamarin first was, really the thing and everything, and we went to Seattle, and one of our engineers got featured on one of the Microsoft TV channels and everything,
Yeah.
and we were like the premier. We were the place to come to do this and get this, and we've continued to build just exactly like that on all of the controls and the frameworks that we have. So again, it is. for me, having, been in the software world for quite a while, I've worked in a number of companies where in the past where, you twilight a bunch of stuff and obviously they need to be twilighted, but then there's nothing that comes in new that fills in that gap. Syncfusion's not stopped. We have kept on. We didn't stop with just a grid. We kept on, and here we are.
Yeah. And even to that point, it's like we have new controls, but not just that, new features to all those controls. So
Yeah.
I think that's always the very exciting part. And I know for me, like I work in our video department, so you've probably seen some of our volume releases, or at least our volume release video. So I mean, it's quite the job to keep up with it, but I think it keeps it exciting the same way for like all of these people who are getting these new features. And like a lot
Right.
of these features not just come from our own heads, but like from feature requests sent in from the developers themselves and
Yeah.
users.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's interesting because all of that we talk about bugs and features and everything, stuff happens. Um, and we do have incidences where there are bugs and where, people run into problems. And again, we really work hard it's always, you notice the ones that are having the problems, but you tend to they shadow all of the good stuff that's going on. um Having seeing all of the tickets that come in for support is nowhere near the volume of folks that are actually using the tools. And so we really working hard to make sure that everybody is satisfied and everything to get those bugs taken care of and all that sort of things. And it's interesting because where we have really, I think, I tell my team that, I ask them, which would you rather be, a cruise liner or a tugboat? Of course, everybody always says, I want to be a cruise liner. And just because you think of the elegance and the opulence, I say, well, I want to be a tugboat because I can dodge an iceberg. Cruise liners might not do that. Syncfusion's kind of like a tugboat. And when I mean that, we are agile enough that as somebody comes along, our clients come along and say, hey, we really see this out and we want this as a feature and we really want to be able to do this. Our guys are going to take a serious look at this. So, our success actually comes from our clients interacting with us and bringing us those new ideas and those new things that they want to see. And then, of course, we work on them. Test them, do with the things that we need to do so that we can get them out into the environment so that folks can use them. And so that relationship is just very, very, whatever this is, because I can't describe what my hands are doing. It's just so important and really important because that's where
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but I think that like to take what you're saying from that, I think is like the basis of the company user interaction. It's like making sure that like the most important thing is customer satisfaction in this regard. Like we are creating these controls, not just for us, we're making them
Mhm.
for users. And I think that is what we want to make sure is that people like the people who are using our products are getting everything they can out of it. And to that degree, almost nobody has a better insight into what they can do sometimes. Like I know I've seen people use our controls to make stuff that's like, oh, didn't know, like that's crazy. That's awesome. But that's like the whole point of the organic customer interaction is like they have so many great ideas that they can take running. And I know I wanted to mention because I saw Sierra put in the chat mentioning our we have a feedback page that kind of goes into those feature requests where people can like not just like talk to our individual developers, but go to the link that she put in there and put in their own feedback and feature requests and bug reports, and not just like put it in there, but can interact with each other and even comment like, oh, this is great. I would act, he was like, I didn't even think of this, but that would be great. So you can even go in there and boost up those certain requests so that it's easier for our team to see.
It's a collaboration. I mean, and it's very, very collaborative. And I think that is, I So pre-COVID, we were in our office and we had the executive team from Marcia and I office visiting the United States. And so all of these guys are here, and Tara Evans, my director of client services, and I were talking to one of our lead developers. And so we have this idea, and we're talking to him, and I love whiteboards. As you can see, I have a whiteboard in my office here, and drawing out what we want and how we want it and everything. And how I perceived the workflow was so enhanced. He goes up, and I mean, like, he's doing, well, let's do this instead, and let's do this and that, and it was just the best thing. And I can't tell you how many times that we have shared, and just, it's again that collaborative environment where everybody's input is so valued. Our clients are so valued. I have spent countless hours talking to folks who when we did custom development work, and this is my idea for what I want to do, and we're like, this works. I absolutely think that we can make it happen and everything else, and just watching those grow, it's just marvelous. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, one thing I wanted to mention before we moved on was, I know Sierra had put in the chat mentioning a great like resource that anyone's used to, but also I know Pat and I can talk for the full hour if we'd like to about all of the features, because it's very easy. But I think one thing I wanted to bring up before we move on was just like, if anyone has any questions, please go ahead, submit them in. Anything you'd like us to like maybe cover back on, put in there, and we'll make sure to get to whatever we can today.
Yeah.
If there's something that we need to get further verification on, we can also check that out and then message you within the next couple of days just to make sure we get you the absolute best answer that we can.
If I don't know the answer, I promise you folks, I'm going to find out from somebody, because it takes a village, and I am not the one-stop shop here by any stretch of the imagination. So, but Carter, one of the other things that I wanted to chat about too is not so that's pretty much the fundamental side that everybody thinks of and sees, but we have a couple of other important areas too that I think are really good. Back in the day, whenever we were dealing with just one-on-one, a developer, and they have an agreement, they click the button, and it signs the EULA, and they pay their money and everything. It works great. But as Syncfusion has grown, and our relationship within different enterprises have grown, we've had to start engaging with folks like procurement and contracting and all of these other folks, non-technical folks. And I think that it's important also, and you're going to know the stat on this, that Syncfusion is in how many Fortune 100 companies?
Oh god, I feel like it constantly updates, but hold on, I have it written out actually. It's like I believe it's oh god, I know right now we have more than 22,000 customers, and a lot of that includes into the Fortune 100 companies and global IT consultancies and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So imagine these great big companies and all of the infrastructure that they have and the layers of purchasing that they have. And so that comes at a cost. And so when we think about single source contracting, it's important to know that anytime that even a small company is going out and is looking to make a purchase, there's research that has to be done in that, making sure that everything is vetted and all of that sort of stuff. And I can't tell you the number of companies that said, yeah, I bought you for this X, and I'm looking for Y, and I went out to this Acme company and purchased this for this mobile app, and now I'm locked in. It isn't unlimited number of users. I only get 5 incidences, a month, and I'm so unhappy, but I can't afford to change. And so for us, we are constantly saying, you need to know what's in your arsenal. You have all of this stuff. So if you are listening to me right now and you are a global customer, go and take a look at Syncfusion to this pricing, or not, I'm sorry, but the products page, and all of this is yours. It's the biggest buffet you could ever imagine that's yours. But recognizing single source contracting is a huge non-revenue generating cost. And that's important. Really quickly, another point that I want to bring up that is, so I used to watch this television show, and I'm not sure I'm allowed to actually say the name of it because you know how things are nowadays. Anyway, so here was these four guys, and they were very intellectual, scientific type guys. I can't talk. And they would sit at this lunch table and they would share different things that were going on. So imagine that you are Syncfusion. I'm sorry, you're one guy and you've just purchased Syncfusion and you paid $1,000 for your license. And he goes, you guys need to know, I really found this company. It's really, really cool and everything. And this guy over here on this side says, you know, I'm looking for X. He goes, don't worry, it's covered. I got us an enterprise-wide license and it's not going to cost you anything. Well, it's not going to cost the company anything. And so what this number one guy has figured out is that he can split his budget. So if he's paying $1,000 on the renewal next budget year, this guy's going to split it in half, and now he's only paying $500. No extra cost to the company, but now these two projects can split it out for $500 apiece. Well, these two guys want to jump on the bandwagon, and so his initial investment for his project was $1,000, and now it's only $250 because accountants can do all kind of crazy things in there. So again, think about the fact that as you use it for multiple projects, you actually are saving a lot of money. And then I've talked a whole lot, Carter. Your thoughts on that? Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Talk away. I enjoy listening just as much.
And then lastly, because I know we probably need to be wrapping up this, I want to talk a little bit about portals and just the beauty of how and what we have here. So this is my account, and my account's just a play account. So please just know that it's a play account. But Syncfusion allows something I think that is entirely unique to what our competitors do. We allow multi-versioning. And so again, I have lots of stories, have talked to a lot of clients and know how they use us and what they do. There is a company that is a major Fortune 100 company, and I bet every person in the United States of America has their product in their kitchen. And when I first started with them, I called all of our clients and tried to establish a relationship with them and do all that other stuff that I do. And he had one project, and so I was telling him the benefits of the global license, and he goes, so you mean to tell me that that application that I want to do for inventory, I can absolutely use this? I said, not a problem. He goes, and so you want to tell me that the application that I want to do for quality control for my product, I can use this? Not a problem. He has 17 portals now. And what that means is each of these are a portal. And so if I click right here and I come to view and take a look at this, I have no users in this portal. But if I come over here and take a look at Pat's company, I have all of these people in my portal. And again, why is that so important? Because you can have different people in different portals, and if you need to have the same person in a portal, we can certainly help you with that. But watch what happens. If I go to my settings, I'm running on 15.2.0.40. If I come over here to my Devspiration and I look at my settings, he's running on 21.1.35. Now, why is this important? Because you may have legacy applications that it is far too expensive for you to upgrade them and everything, and they need to run, because we understand that we may not be the only set of tools that you do, and you may have something else in there that's, more costly. And 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 we let that work, right? So whenever you go in and you fill out a ticket for that support because there is something going on and you need some help with something, it's really amazing because it's going to ask me, what am I doing, right? And so when I come down, it wants me to select what product, what platform, where am I, what am I doing? And if I select ASP.NET, then it's going to now open up all of these different fields, because as specific as I can get to what you have, that's going to mean that reply to that incident happens way faster than what it wouldn't without that information. So portals are in really important for how you manage your budget, how you manage your projects, how you allocate folks. You can add users, you can take users out, you can do anything that you want to do. And of course, we have folks that help you to navigate those waters. So, Carter, that's a lot.
I mean, I think it has been, and I mean, to me, I've enjoyed all of it. And actually, before I think it's great looking at this, but you had just brought up the ticket that had been, like you'd mentioned there, and there was one thing that you mentioned earlier of um you mentioned like with some people when they go in with a company, it's like when it comes to support, it's almost this limited to support of like maybe 5 tickets a month or anything like that. And one thing I wanted to mention is like, as you're going through that portal, yet again, we're going back to that unlimited kind of feature. Like there is no limit to how much help you can ask for, how many incidents you can put in, unlimited bug and feature. And that's one thing I kind of wanted to focus in on, is just because I think it's important to let everyone know. It's like yet again, it's going back to that. We're here to help you as much as we can, and we don't want to ever make it feel like somebody is working with a budget and when it comes to asking for help. And I think that like with that like when you're going through a feature request, bug request, incident, it's like, you might go 3 months and have like no issues. That's obviously the goal here at Syncfusion, is that you will
Yeah,
encounter so few, but like you mentioned, like with a project coming up, it's like, who
yeah,
knows? There might be like there's a lot of stuff going into it. And if you just need help with this, we want to make sure that we're there to help as much as you need during that month. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, well, should we really put this as a small incident? Maybe we can just figure this out. It's like we want to make sure that like you are happy with those controls, and with the licensing, we pretty much guarantee it, I would say, in a lot of
yeah.
ways.
Yeah, it's unlimited number of instances.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, like I can think of several companies right now off the top of my head where you get just a quota, and then they charge big bucks for anything
Mm.
over that. This is, I mean, there's unlimited in this case across all of the licensing for support truly means unlimited. And that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
You know, because you want everybody to be happy. Happy is a great place. It's a great state to be in.
Yes, we could all use it a little bit more, I
Yes.
think, sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's great, Pat. And like you mentioned, I think we've gone over everything and more, as we kind of talked about. But I was like, before we move into the Q&A or anything, I just want to check to see if there was any closing statements, any last topics that you'd like to mention.
Oh, well, thank you all, first of all, for having me. And I was telling Carter that before we got started, we're in North Carolina, and so it is the beginning of goldenrod season, and so I sound very sultry. And so I haven't had a chance to drink out of my Syncfusion water glass here. But it has been a pleasure and an honor to be asked to share this. And, if we don't know the answers today, or you think, this is a lot to process, right?
Mhm.
So if you want more information, certainly we have folks that are going to be around to answer questions for you, and think about how best to leverage what you have in this particular pricing, or not pricing, but in this licensing model, and then how to get the best return on investment. All of us live in times where we have to be very cognizant of the monies that we spend for things, and very few things give you the ability where you recognize immediately that this was a good spend. And the Syncfusion Global license is definitely a good spend, because it is your one-stop shop to make sure that you have everything that you need.
Yeah. No, I
Man, that could be a commercial. That was not bad.
I'm gonna take that spot right there. Just you talking. We'll just use that for separate content.
That's it. I want to thank everybody. So I look forward to the questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that you can pull up whatever it is you need to pull up.
Sounds great. Yeah, as Pat mentioned, we are going to move into some Q&A just to help make sure that we cover anything that you guys might specifically have question-wise. But while we're giving some time for you to submit the questions and we can kind of prepare for that, I thought I'd do a quick little overview about some of the other offerings outside of just licensing that Syncfusion has. But as I mentioned, if you have any questions, please go ahead, put them in the chat, and we'll get back to as many we can with the best of our ability. So while we're waiting for those to be submitted in, as I believe mentioned earlier, Syncfusion has been around for over 20 years now. And I know, as Pat definitely mentioned, we are headquartered in the Raleigh-Durham area of North Carolina in the US. Syncfusion has more than 22,000 customers, including large financial institutions, Fortune 100 companies, and global IT consultancies. And more than 1 million users from 125 countries trust Syncfusion in their development process. I know I mentioned earlier that we'll be posting the video up on our YouTube channel, but we also have plenty of other options when it comes to social media and ways to connect. And if you'd like to keep updated with us and gain access to tons of instructional videos and other great content, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And you can communicate with through any of these platforms, whatever your preferred is, and you can reach out to us any comments, and we'll make sure to review all of those and hear any feedback that you might have. And on the topic of feedback, we have a G2 page, which is a peer-to-peer review site. So if you'd like to check out what other users have to say about Syncfusion, or you would like to share your own feedback, you can check the link that I will add in the chat window now. We'd love to hear from you, and like I said, it's always great to hear what other users have to say about their experience with Syncfusion. But those are most all of my main points I wanted to cover before we get into the Q&A. So I'll go ahead and open it up to the chat. Go ahead, submit any questions that you might have about the global license or any other licensing, or if there's a Syncfusion question that you have separate from this, please feel free to reach out to that. We might not be able to cover that one in particular today, but we can go ahead and submit that to the people that will be able to help you best. And also, while we allow other questions to come in, we mentioned the social media sites. And for anyone who might have joined after I had mentioned this, we have been recording this webinar today, and it will be posted on the Syncfusion YouTube channel later within the next couple of hours. So I will also share with you all a link to the Syncfusion YouTube channel, so you can keep an eye out for that. And if you feel so inclined, please give us a subscribe. We have plenty of other content, including webinars and other walkthroughs and other topics on licensing. Yeah, so I will add that into the chat now. And you know what? Actually, Pat, I was like, I'm not seeing too many questions, so we might have some people thinking on it. But while we're sitting here and talking about licensing, I had a question I thought I would ask you that maybe people might be interested in is also, as I mentioned before, we do have unlimited, but we also have our community license. Would you mind giving us a quick little overview of that?
That is a great question to ask Carter. We have a license that gives you access to to all of the frameworks that we mentioned earlier, and it is at no cost. Syncfusion has been foundationally, fundamentally, always wanted to pay it forward, and we believe that um, entrepreneurs and folks with a vision or a dream of wanting to create something, shouldn't be hindered by not being able to afford the tools that they need, the frameworks, the assemblies, grids that they need to create their product, their applications. And so we have a set of criteria that if you make, I believe, less than $1 million in revenue and have 5 developers or under, or is it under 5 developers, then we will give you all of this that you just saw a few minutes ago at no cost. And it's a trust system so that once you do start recognizing that revenue, and once you start realizing your dreams and goals and they come into fruition, that you would continue to use us, and then um, afford to be able to afford to pay for the licenses. We also, it's, you think about right out of college, or not even college anymore, these kids are coming in and they don't have any way to raise capital. And yet they have some really cool ideas. And certainly we have seen, thank you, Apple and Facebook and all of that, that these young men and women, they need a break. And so, and you can do great things, and we're here to support that.
Yeah, and I think that, like, to circle back to that, is like the idea is like making sure that everybody has a good start, but also like I think that's the whole, like, the one of the great things about the community license and leading into other stuff, because Syncfusion does like to help there from the beginning, but it's also there to help as much as we can and make it as easy as we can in later
Absolutely.
development, like with the success. And I think that a lot of that, at least from what I've heard talking with like our VPs and everything else in Syncfusion, is like that was the basis of
Yeah.
Syncfusion itself. Like Syncfusion is a development company started by developers who wanted to get something started. And I think, like you're saying, like it's kind of giving that insight of like the people who created this company and really started these controls are right there with a lot of the other developers. They know what
Yeah.
developers like because they've been there.
Yeah, you think about Syncfusion and the global footprint that we have. It started off as an idea, as a seed of an idea from a conversation on the back deck of somebody's house, and some guys sitting around saying, what if we could do fill in, X, Y, Z. I don't think that any of them ever dreamed that it would be this way and evolve this way, because again, it's a fluid environment. But yeah, I mean, we know what it's like to be there,
Yeah.
and are just grateful for the successes that we've had, and continue to be humble in what we do, and service the best that we can, service and support the best we can.
Yeah. And I know I thought we would share this link also. Just I feel like it caps up a lot of what we mentioned, but it's just some reviews by some individuals who have used the global license and use it now, but also one of the first, and like one of the first reviews is specifically talking about starting with the community
Yeah.
license and then moving forward. So I think it gives like that it's truly Syncfusion's there for the lifespan, and we try to
Yeah.
make sure that every step is as simple as possible, because development is complicated enough. It takes up enough of your time that we want to make sure that licensing is essentially as simple as it can be.
Well, and I've told several clients that Syncfusion is your silent employee that sits in the background, right?
Mhm.
So you buy the license, and you have these frameworks, controls, grids, assemblies, whatever it is that you're getting and are using, and it's built, like it's done. And so you don't have to start building everything, from the chassis all the way up. The chassis is here. And so it's enormously economical to use this, and to use it for everything that you're doing. And again, it's, you want to know the quality, and I mean, who you're incorporating, the quality is the best word that I can think of service and everything of who you're incorporating into your applications. And so tried and true is a great thing.
Yeah. Nice. Well, I mean,
Excuse me.
no, you're good. I understand how it is. I'm in the same state. I'm having similar things, but
Yeah.
I was like, I think overall, like Pat, I just yet again wanted to thank you so much for joining today. I was like, I feel like I learned things today, so I hope that our attendees were able to take away just as much profit as I was in this regard.
Um, we look forward to chatting with each of you, and please, the chat's going to be open for a while. By all means, if you think of something, go ahead and enter it in. Go out to YouTube and enter comments in if you have anything, or reach out to us here, and we'll be glad to answer anything that we can. We appreciate it, and thank you so much, Carter. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Pat. It's been a pleasure. And to everyone who joined, thank you very much. If you'd like to hear more global license webinars from us or any licensing in general, please let us know. Or if there's any other topics you'd like us to see in the future, we're all ears in that regard. But hopefully we'll see you in future ones. But until then, we hope you have a great rest of your day. And thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.